trends for this winter, would you say?
Yeah, sure. So, realistically, if you're like going out on a night out and it's very, very cold outside, you're going to be wanting to wear sort of more warmer things at this time of year.
It's kind of hard to look fashionable sometimes.
It's pretty hard, yeah. And you'll notice like the shops have so much black in there at the moment, and so I'm all about like trying to sort of bring in a bit more colour. So things like tartan are really good because you can wear like quite a nice tartan pencil skirt, and these come in like sort of reds and blues and greens. But then if you want to stick to sort of black, then more of the monochrome look. So if you're wearing like white and black, so you can wear like white jeans, for example, with like up to the knee or over the knee boots with like a simple black jacket, and that's kind of timeless. You can wear that from lunchtime right up into your party in the evening. And tweed is also a really, really key on-trend thing at the moment. You're seeing a lot of tweed out there, like tweed jackets, and those come in like a variety of colours. So rather than just sticking to the normal black, you can kind of mix up a bit, and there are other things out there as well.
Okay, now tell us about this outfit that you've brought on with you today.
Yeah, sure.
Why you pick that one in particular? I don't think we can hold it up.
Yeah, so like one of the key trends at the moment, off of the back of programmes like Downton Abbey and Mr. Selfridge, is very much this 1920s theme, and you're seeing a like real transition in the high street at the moment from how you've got of how they're expressing that. So here's a really good example. This was from French Connection, and this is a very good example of like kind of what you're going to see the classic things in Downton Abbey and Mr. Selfridge, and how that transpires onto the high street. So you can see this very, this sort of sweeping statement with the beading, and it's unfortunately going to be definitely a dry clean only garment, but that's a really good example. And I've also brought a model along who's wearing a vintage 80-year-old gown, and this is very typical.
Let's have a look.
Very typical of what you would see on programmes like Downton Abbey. In fact, this is exactly the type of thing you would have seen on Downton Abbey, this type of dress, which is fabulously modelled by Mimit there.
Gorgeous. How does it... Well, I was going to ask her a question. I forgot to ask how it feels to be wearing that. I thought she's not mic'd up. I won't ask her a question.
I mean,
it's quite heavy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very heavy because there's so much beading work in that. And many things people ask me, like, how much would something like that cost? And it's going to, it's a lot of work, much like you were talking about Kate Middleton's dress before. If you look at the detail that's in that dress, there's so much detail in it, and they've spent, thousands of man-hours on those types of dresses to create that type of beading work and that type of effect. So really, it's probably going to be, how much someone is willing to pay for all that time and that work spent on a dress like that. So, the retailers like Max No Duty, for example, they had a fantastic shop front display window which in Regent Street this week, which has got beautiful girls with like the short hair going on, and like the beading, sort of there's a hairband with the feathers coming out, which is one of them. And I was also in Miss Selfridge the other day in Oxford Street, and they've got some fantastic like cat suits with all the lacing detail going on. So really good key examples of like where you can go to like recreate that type of thing.
If someone is really on a tight budget though, like maybe they can't afford some of the places that you mentioned, what would you recommend they can do? Is there anything they can do themselves to put a look together, or by accessorising?
There's a lot of obviously markets out there now, and one of the things that I've been to recently is some of the vintage markets around Clerkenwell, Notting Hill, and in fact a lot of the stylists from Downton Abbey and from Mr. Selfridge go to these vintage markets to pick up like the detailing. So they'll pick up like bands of the beading, and sort of like more military buttons for like the men's items that you'll see on the programme. So you can go to things like that, and you could take a relatively simple dress and just customise that with like different trim or different lacing or different beading. So that's probably the best advice I could give you if you were looking to do something like that yourself.
Okay. And what about sort of accessorising maybe the outfits too? Would you maybe do something more subtle, or
jewellery, quite sort of costumey like jewellery, I suppose, is quite key to that type of thing. You know, but when it comes to like the earrings, it was much more subtle. It was, you know, much smaller, pearlised type of things. If you're looking at jewellery.
Okay. And how do you think this trend will continue to next year?
Yeah, I think so. You know, you've got obviously like HBO and ITV are in collaboration with that, so you're seeing it all right across the world. That 1920s trend. So, you know, and as long as that programme continues to be popular, then I'm fairly sure that trend will continue.
Okay. And how about those people that maybe they say it's not really my thing, I'm not really into that. Is there anything else that's quite current now at the moment that you would recommend for people as well?
Yeah, I mean, if you know, for example, if you're like a slightly larger size lady, then like lots of beading and lots of, you know, detail going on is probably not the type of thing for you. So I would say keep it simple colours, and then just accessorising. So going with like a clutch bag, which, you know, there's some great ones out in the market now, where, you know, you put your hand through and it kind of looks like it's a bracelet on. And then, you know, having quite chunky jewellery, but then keeping it quite bland, simple colour, but then accessorising elsewhere.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for your advice, Natasha.
You're very welcome.
Lovely model over here as well. Thank you. Okay, so after the break,